If you've ever looked out at your garden and wished you could bring tired, lifeless soil back to vibrant, productive health fast, you're not alone. Every gardener eventually hits that point where the ground stops giving back. Maybe the plants look weak, maybe the compost isn't kicking in, maybe the soil is starting to feel like dust in your hands. But what if there were an ancient method, over 2,000 years old, that could flip the switch almost overnight? And what if this soil-reviving trick was so powerful, ancient civilizations used it to grow food in places that should have been infertile? Good news. That method exists, it still works, and it's something you can start using in your garden today. Let's dig into one of my favorite soil secrets of all time, the ancient charcoal-based technique now known as biochar. When archaeologists explored the Amazon rainforest, they found something surprising: patches of unusually dark, fertile soil unlike anything around them. These pockets, called terra preta or black earth, were created by indigenous communities thousands of years ago. Biochar is simply charcoal made from plant material, wood chips, crop waste, bamboo, even prunings, burned slowly with limited oxygen. Unlike ash, charcoal doesn't dissolve or break down quickly. Instead, it stays in the soil, acting like a long-term sponge and refuge for all the microorganisms your plants depend on. When you look at biochar under a microscope, it resembles a honeycomb filled with tunnels, pores, and tiny pockets. These pockets become permanent homes for bacteria, fungi, and all the little soil workers responsible for nutrient cycling, disease resistance, and overall fertility. This is why gardens respond so quickly. It isn't the charcoal itself that works the miracle, it's the explosion of microbial life it supports. One thing I always emphasize on my channel is this: healthy soil grows healthy plants, and biochar doesn't feed the plant directly, it feeds the ecology that supports the plant. When biochar is incorporated into garden soil, it improves nutrient retention dramatically. It helps soil hold moisture through dry spells. It gives microbes a home, letting them populate faster. It buffers soil pH, making nutrients more available. It reduces soil compaction. It lowers watering needs. And, it increases fertilizer efficiency. The result? Most gardeners observe a visible difference in plant vigor within days, especially in struggling soil. That's why so many call it a soil revival. This is where many beginners go wrong. Simply burning wood in a fire pit won't give you real biochar. You want charcoal, not ash, and you want it from clean, untreated plant material only. If you want to make your own, here's the method I use and teach on Soil Stories. Start with dry branches, sticks, prunings, or crop leftovers. Light them in a metal barrel, pit, or any container that limits oxygen. Once the flames fade and the material glows red, cover or smother it so it carbonizes instead of burning to ash. Let it cool completely before touching it. When done right, you'll end up with black, lightweight chunks that snap easily in your hands. This is your biochar base, but you're not done yet. Raw biochar is powerful, but if you add it straight into your soil, it can temporarily absorb nutrients your plants need. That's why, ancient cultures charge the charcoal before using it. Charging simply means soaking the biochar in a nutrient-rich liquid, so it becomes infused with minerals and beneficial microbes. You can charge it in compost tea, worm castings, tea liquid fertilizer, fermented plant juice manure tea, or even leftover compost runoff. Let it soak for 24 to 72 hours, stirring occasionally. When you're done, the char will be heavy, rich-smelling, and ready to feed your soil. Once charged, adding biochar to your garden is simple and straightforward. Just mix it into the top 10 to 15 centimeters or about 4 to 6 inches of soil. You can add it during bed preparation, before planting, or even around existing plants. The ideal amount is around 5 to 10% of your soil volume, but honestly, even a handful per planting hole makes a noticeable difference. If your soil feels dead, compacted, sandy, or dry, biochar acts almost immediately. You'll notice the soil becomes more crumbly. It holds moisture better. It stays cooler during heat waves, and your plants, especially vegetables, respond with stronger roots and faster growth. This is why so many gardeners think of biochar as a reset button for struggling soil. The fast visible results come from biology. When you introduce charged biochar into your garden, it creates instant habitat for soil microbes. Within hours, beneficial organisms begin colonizing the pores. Within days, your soil becomes more alive and more active. Plants sense this shift. Their roots start interacting with microbes that help them access nutrients they couldn't get before. Water retention improves immediately because the biochar sponge starts doing its job from the moment it touches the soil. Even if you have compacted clay or dusty sand, biochar starts changing the texture on day one. That's why this 2,000-year-old trick has made such a comeback in modern regenerative gardening. It's fast, it's natural, and it transforms soil permanently. Here's the most mind-blowing part. Biochar doesn't break down. Unlike compost, manure, or mulch, which feed the soil for months, biochar stays active for decades or even centuries. That means every bucket of biochar you add builds long-term fertility. Gardeners who use it season after season notice something magical. Their soil becomes richer every year, requiring less fertilizer, less water, and far less work. It's the closest thing to permanent soil improvement I've ever seen, and it's why I share this method so passionately with the Soil Stories community. If you've been searching for a natural, reliable way to revive your garden, whether it's just a few beds, a balcony setup, or a full homestead, this ancient charcoal method is absolutely worth trying. So, hey, start small if you want. Just charge a bowl of biochar, mix it into one bed, and watch how your plants respond. Once you see the difference, honestly, you'll never look at soil the same way again. And if your garden has been, silently asking for help, consider this your sign to bring some ancient wisdom into the modern soil world. If you found this guide useful, inspiring, or maybe even eye-opening, make sure you subscribe to Soil Stories so you never miss another deep dive into hidden gardening wisdom. Go ahead and share this article with a friend who loves the soil as much as we do. And let's spread these ancient secrets to every garden that needs new life. Let's keep growing, learning, and telling the soil story together.